Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi. Kita mulakan sesi pada pagi ini dengan Al-Fatihah. Yang dihormati Ketua Jabatan Dr. Zulkifli, Prof dan semua staf akademik KMP yang menyertai sesi kita pada pagi ini. Pada hari ini kita sangat bertuah kerana dapat menganjurkan sebuah seminar di peringkat jabatan dan khas untuk staf akademik KMP sahaja. Untuk pengetahuan semua, seminar ini adalah atas permintaan ramai lah, dan akan disampaikan oleh speaker yang tidak perlu diperkenalkan lagi, iaitu Prof. IR Dr. Muhammad Safwan Khalid. Citation indeks terkini Persatuan adalah 29,668, manakala hash index skor terkini adalah 89. So rekod yang sangat cemerlang lah, dan sangat saya pasti menjadi inspirasi lah bagi setiap ahli akademik. So tanpa membuang masa, saya serahkan sesi kepada Prof untuk berkongsi ilmu dan pengalaman dengan semua peserta sesi kita pada hari ini. Kepada yang nak bertanya soalan, boleh letakkan soalan di chat room atau terus tanya Prof nanti di masa Q&A session. Silakan Prof.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat pagi. Terima kasih Dr. Izzah atas pengenalan dan juga jabatan kerana menyebut saya untuk memberi sharing sessions dengan tajuk the talk will be on the what you ought to know about KPI in publication and supervision. So the presentation outline, introduction, publication, supervision, and our approach and conclusion. Actually, the publication ni agak panjang. Saya akan fokus more on publication because initially I just want to talk about what you have to know, what you ought to know. But I decided later on, instead of just what, and then also I give some, how you should know how to do that. I think lagi efektif. Sebagaimana kita maklum, in UPM publication is important untuk apa? For confirmation, especially those are new, about 4-5 staff still new, for confirmation. That certainly require ada publication. And annual KPI. So this month kita kena isi borang EPLT, and one of the main question or requirement is about the publication and promotion to associate professor. This is a professor promotion to professorship, and then upgrade to B and E grades. Oh, no, sorry, I think this Professor Ulung is not a promotion. Saya baru perasan. It is just awards. I think this is not quite relevant here, but Professor Ulung should be under awards. And di peringkat nasional, peringkat international dan juga peringkat universiti, kita ada banyak anugerah yang kita boleh apply. Contohnya di UPM ada anugerah pendidik cemerlang, anugerah pendidik muda, a lot of opportunities, especially for the young researcher and below 40, a lot of grant, for you. For us, dah tak ada lagi dah. Not many is left for us. If you go to any website, international level, they all want the young people. So this opportunity, at the time there is no grant, but the opportunity is wide open for the young researcher. This year, recently I was one of the panel for selection of National Young Scientist Award. Again, the emphasis is on the publication. Like in Academic Science Malaysia give the award like Top Research Scientist Malaysia Award. And one of the main criteria is a publication. Same thing for grant, you know. In grant application, they want to see your track record publication. Okay, this one provided by Dr. Zul, our KJ, you know, because I have to give talk on this topic. So at UPM, wajaran penerbitan untuk khususnya untuk mensyarah kanan, so dia adalah 10%, 15%. Kalau you put 10%, 50%, you must produce one. 15%, 1.5. The same way, I think this is the threshold, 20%. You must publish two. Okay, and the jawatan professor, this one is more on kind of KPI penerbitan. Macam saya can publish 4, but I think SA is a senior author, corresponding author. Corresponding author means, you know, at UPM, they allow you to put your name even second, third, but as long as you are the corresponding author, you are called senior author. However, you know, if you publish with somebody from outside UPM, so UPM recognize you, walaupun nama you last, number 7, the 7 as the author, but UPM recognize you as the senior author. This is the advantage. That's why one of the strategy is to collaborate. Collaboration is very important. So I tak nampak yang ini. Yeah, anyway, saya tak nampak untuk sini lecturer. Anyway, so untuk grant, now the opportunity, as I mentioned, is very limited. This year, I think we have about so many applicants, you know, for grant like FRGS, and for the whole faculty, we have only managed to get only 4 lecturers managed to get it. To show how difficult it is. So what we still have is FRGS, TRGS, PRGS, and RGS. ERGS is already, you know, it's normal. That's why there's only 4 that are available, and you try to work with somebody, you know, more experienced to apply this. In the beginning, perhaps, you know, you can be the member, project member, but it is very, very important at the end. You should become the principal investigator, because there's going to be thing that's going to be counted most, and they're going to become like the main requirement. So you have to also focus on this. Why I said this, the grant, because grant will be related to publication and student, because through grant you can get student. What I mean is a postgraduate student. Through grant you can get student and publication. And another thing is this is called My Grant, Malaysia Greatest Research Network System. So this is the website that when we can apply the grant. And see, this is from the RMC website. It's mentioned here. We have Grant Putra, Musti Grant, Minister of Agriculture Grant. This is an example. So with Putra Grant kita ada IPS, IPB, mengenai inovasi, this like prototype. Musti Grant, we have also Ministry ada grant. So for you now, for the young lecturer, you know, you can apply IPM. IPM is it's quite a big number juga, about 50,000, something like that. But unfortunately, you cannot pay the student, like master student, PhD student. This is quite, this is like the seed money for you to start with. And for those who have the postgraduate student, you can apply IPS, the incentive, ini bagi apa? S adalah siswazah. For you is, for most of you are M. M is for the, you know, muda, young researcher. You should apply that, and that is very important. This I think almost each and every lecturer in UPM, they are given this opportunity. Money is still there, and also this is one more requirement: high impact publication. UPM recognize this, you know, and every month, you know, the highly cited, cited paper, highly cited paper meaning that paper published in Q1 top 1% or 10%. Your name will appear in the RMC website, you know, to recognize you. And this another one is called a General Publication Fund. This is one, facility that we have for a long time. I think I started using this one from 2004, but only this year, temporarily it's being stopped. We should pray that next year it will be in place again, so that we can use this, to facilitate, fast publication, because we need publication. But sometimes, if there is such a free journal, it takes so long and it's very difficult, and they don't give so priority on time. This is what I said just now. Those are published in top 10%. UPM give recognition. So this, my name is there, published in International Journal of Biological Macromolecules. And this, when we want to do research, and this is very important website for you, which is the library. You must have, normally use this easy access. From this easy access, you can get a lot of information about research and about publication. Yeah, you can get the information on how to get the free publication from, for example, Science Direct, Wiley, or all these things. You get it for free. And also information on the citation, like using Journal Citation Report. This is very important also. You want to know what is the impact factor of the journal. You want to know what is the ranking of the journal. So normally, of course, you want to try to publish in a top ranking journal, Q1. So this information is very important. This site is very important. You must know, even to get the information, not just from Science Direct, because Science Direct is most user friendly. What I mean by that is that, first thing is UPM paid that, and they subscribe that. Other thing, other publisher is not, many of them UPM didn't subscribe. Like before, UPM I think subscribe Sage and Springer, but no more now. Even Tele and Francis, the one, I think for the Science Direct is enough for us, And you must remember that we have also free access to Science and Nature. Try to visit it when you're still young. Try to visit that. They are not that difficult, but you need to strategize. Science and Nature. It's a top journal, but you try to make familiar with the paper. So, okay, this is what I say, Journal Citation Report. If you want to publish, maybe you want to refer to this one, so that your publication is sometimes the publication is good, very good, but you use the wrong journal. It's very low impact, and not all the Q1 journal, they are difficult, and not all Q1 journal you have to pay. The majority of them are still free, especially Elsevier. Most of them are free, and you can have option whether you want to have open access or just subscribe with subscription. So it's open access, of course you have to pay, but still many of them are still free. So try to make use of these tools that we have, that you can pay for free. It pay for us, if we can pay for us, so they have to make full use of that, because many of the databases are no longer available, as I said just now, like Sage and Springer. This is also another important site that you must visit, subscribe database, and then the Scopus is another important source of information. This is how your citation, H-index, and will be available. And UPM only recognize Scopus, not Google Scholar. Google Scholar at international level is okay, you can play with that. But at UPM and at MUSTI, mainly you need to look at Scopus. And for the also another one, Publon, with Web of Science is also important. But I think for the time being, Scopus is okay, and UPM paid for that. Okay, this is what you can get from the Scopus. I think you know this, and you get the information about H-index. You can get the information about number of citation. Okay, now when we talk about publication, especially for the young researcher and just joined UPM, I believe you have your thesis with you from France, from whatever country, and then and then use that. As I said, use PhD here. I wrote PhD. It's either your PhD work or the work of your PhD student. Maybe in the beginning you don't have PhD student, but what you can suggest is your final year project students. Every year we have 2-3 students, and master student by coursework, master in the engineering management, master in manufacturing system by coursework. This is an opportunity for you to get the material for publication. Well, you are given this opportunity to supervise the student, final year project student and master student. Please supervise them properly. Because of course the minimum requirement is very low. They don't need to publish also, or they encourage to publish. But you must take this opportunity to publish the work from this. You have to guide the student properly, and then the next step is master science by research and PhD. And this is not easy, especially when you are new. And first you have to, I don't know whether UPM will give you the opportunity, but first you have to, be the co-supervisor. You must approach those are senior here, so that you can become the co-supervisor. Ask them, and or they should offer you to become co-supervisor for their project. Those are in the similar field. It's very important, and because when you are with them, you will be coaching them. You have the experience for 2-3 years, and then when there is opportunity, you can yourself become the main supervisor. I think in some university there is no distinction between main supervisor or co-supervisor. Both are supervisor, like in UM. I know this. Riza, I think Norman mentioned to me, he's supervisor. Okay,
Yeah,
supervisor.
Yeah.
So di sana, tapi di UPM is different. You need to have, ada some probation stage that you have to be, co-supervisor. Yeah, co-supervisor, and then they can promote you to become the main supervisor. But here in UPM, when you're still new, they didn't give you like even to become the examiner for the PhD or master student. So that's why. But the opportunity is that you become the assistant for the chairman during Viva, and this will give you the experience and also opportunity to know the system. Okay, and then when you have the PhD student or you become like associate professor, then especially when you get PhD student graduated, they allow you to become the examiner. Okay, now see, this is the requirement of publication. Requirement of publication in journal for PhD and master student by research at UPM. You must know that in UPM, publication is like compulsory. Some universities don't make it compulsory, but UPM, whether if you want to get your degree, at least you have to, for PhD, the student has to publish, two journal papers. This is the thing. For masters also, they have to publish. But the detailed requirement you can find, for example, in the SGS website. I hope this one's still valid. They keep changing from time to time. But see, there is some clause there from 2016 to 2017 onward. They must prove, the student must have the proof of having published journal based on research conducted during the. So this is from 2017. This become compulsory, and for those who are the recipient of the I think this is GRF. UPM from time to time give this the fellowship, international graduate research fellowship. When you receive this one, for the student, they have to do, to publish in general citation report, meaning that which impact factor in Q1 and Q2, and for the internationally, you have to publish 2 journal article published or accepted in Q1 and Q2. Okay, but for the student who are not the recipient of the GRF or IGRF, there are different requirements. For PhD, 1 journal article published or accepted and 1 journal article submitted. So at least 1 is compulsory. It was before 2016, but student registering from second semester 2016 and 17 onward, 2 journal article published and accepted in CIJ. CIJ not just JCR, CIJ ni including Scopus. Scopus pun dimasukkan, tak semestinya JCR. JCR ni dalam Clarivate Analytics. This CIJ ni can be Scopus. As long as there are journal cited, journal is cited. This for, I don't know why this one, yeah. Student, this is social science, I think it's not related to us. Okay.
Prof, boleh saya tambah sikit tak kat situ?
Boleh.
Can you show the previous slide? Okay, this one you took this one from SGS
Yeah.
Tapi FK dia atas sikit lah kan?
Yeah.
Untuk fakulti kejuruteraan, requirement kita dia ikut GRF.
Yeah.
To journal article published or accepted in CIJ. So yang itu kita punya requirement lah untuk yang
fakulti.
Untuk fakulti punya requirement.
Ya. Yang ini yang kita tak tahu banyak. Yang kita tahu kita tengok, kita rujuk kepada SGS. Sebenarnya yang mana setiap pensyarah atau pelajar they should consult the TDP mengadakan siswaza from time to time lah. Sometimes the requirement.
Sepatutnya supervisor bagi tahulah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Yeah, okay. I think I just talk about what to do. Now, I think it's better also to say about how, because only what to do, and then it's not going to push you to do the work. How to do is encourage you to do the work. So I think I decided to talk on this topic as well. So this is our aim to publish, even for the first year student in the very beginning. They should have target to publish in a top journal. As we know that in the university, and we see the requirement, we have publish or perish. Which one you want to choose? Publish or perish, or publish or perish? Okay. Of course, you want publish and you can visit perish, but now if not, you will be perish. So when you want to do research, you need to have, publication is related to research. This I emphasize in the beginning. And you need grant. Without grant, okay, you can write review paper. And this is a tall order to write only review paper, though it's a good. And in fact, if you want to become highly cited researcher, for example, you need to publish more review paper. UM got this culture in mechanical. But grant somehow you need that. Tak tahulah macam mana kaedah mana kita kena cari grant. Industri ke, or if not grant pun, student has some scholarship. That is also good enough. But you need that to do research and also to publish. I think I dah tunjuk tadi ni. Dah tunjuk juga tadi. Even kalau kita ada pelajar good student doing masters or conversion to PhD daripada bachelor degree, and then want to convert them direct to PhD, they are not the first class student, of course. Kalau first class student mungkin dia got special rule. So they have to publish and show the proof acceptance of article in journal. Okay, this is very important. Now, even to the extent the journal must be there with a citation index or cited journal, since some people may call it. And it seems to be very difficult task to write journal paper, to publish. But it becomes easy when that we know how to the technique, and then we need to have a confidence on that. And yesterday I was in USM. He said, how you manage your time? So it's very important for us to manage our time. Otherwise, we would be, the work is not relevant anymore, and then everything is not, to what we like. If we not manage our time properly. And it's very important, as I mentioned, kita ada tadi journal, the final year project student, thesis, dissertation, your dissertation for the masters, by coursework. So try to make effort to convert them into research paper, and which is ideally you must publish the original work. I do not know the result. Can I go detail about publication? Otherwise, I don't have many to say because we could have time. I think I will talk on this topic so that we have you know, we can
Silakan Prof, tak ada masalah.
yeah.
Silakan.
Because if I talk about what to do, and then it's very going to be very short one. Okay.
Kita ada partisipan daripada luar department juga nampaknya.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we have to have this, you know, we want to publish a journal. You must know what are the target journal. We must decide whether, you know, we want to send a publication in fundamental or applied research, meaning our research will determine that broad-based or specialized journal, printed or e-journal, subscribe or open access. But for the time being, open access, I mean, the university stop. I hope next year we'll have that money and decide to send to higher impact or lower impact. But you know, some with the low impact, sometimes it's shorter, and we must consider impact factor. Try to target high, you know, not go for scopers only, you know, because I can tell you, though you send to scopers, the quality is the same as the you publish in Q2. It's not much different. Only thing you have to decide, you know, you have to make sure that you publish in the top journal. Okay, some Q1 journal, they are quite difficult, but Q2 journal, I think they are not, knowing that they are in Q2, the editor or the publisher, they sometimes they will relax. So, and bagi saya tak ada nampak pun perbezaan antara publish scopus ke Q2. They are the same. So try to target to the top journal. Even many Q1 journal, they are quite easy to publish. Okay, this is what I said just now. We should pray that inshallah from January we'll get back this. You know, it's been very helpful for us. You know, I think I used this one from 2004, and I think not many people applied it. I used a lot this because the money is there and never rejected by UPM. So we hope and it should help us a lot. So ideally you should go for the free journal. No? Free journal is the best one. And they are not difficult also to some extent. And this is the key formula to publish. Yesterday, some academic staff from USM asked me, what is the formula? How to publish? You just stick to this one, IMRAD. Okay. What is IMRAD? Introduction, method, result, and discussion. It's very powerful. So very simple. I think we know this from our undergraduate times, you know. But this is very important, you know. If you go beyond IMRAD, and then it's become difficult for you. This is the macam orang kata inilah formula yang sebenar untuk menulis IMRAD. Nampak terlampau simple. And you must know that writing is a storytelling. And introduction, you explain why. In introduction, there is a literature review, of course, and method, how to do that, and result, what, and then so what, discussion. And this is very important. Discussion is, I think, the most important to me. And many people or many authors, they fail to do that. They just give result. And without discussion is including the, you know, with comparison with published work, support from published work, and finally conclusion. And perform literature review. This is a search, not review. I told you, we are so lucky in UPM, we still have a Scopus, the Science Direct. And Science Direct has got a lot of information. We can have also from Wiley, from Sage, from Springer, CRC Press. The Kelly and Francis, they are good, equally good. But to me, the Science Direct, you know, you got everything, you know, for you to start writing. See, because you need about how many papers you want to publish a research paper? In my experience, you need about 35, you know. These days, not like before, when about 10, 15 years ago, if we have, say, 11, 12 references, they say, okay, even Q1, they will accept. But nowadays, no. The editor want more. Those days, I write review paper. I wrote quite a lot of review paper. I set the minimum number. 50 is for review paper. But nowadays, I saw the trend, you know, even the research paper, more than 50. And now review paper, you want to publish a good review paper, okay, starting from 50, it can be up till 200 and 250. And that one's got a very good review. And you can publish in top journal in Q1, for instance. Okay, this is important. And when do the research, we need to have the to analyze why you want to do research review. You want to analyze the weakness of previous work. What are still missing, and so that we can identify the gap. So when there's a gap, there is a research question that you want to address, or research like hypothesis. Without that, and it's very difficult for your work to be accepted. And the research question in general, not too many. One is the best one, maybe two, but one paper, one research question. What do you want to solve? Research question or hypothesis. Like in thesis, we have 4 or 5, but in journal only one. But you go deep into that. And this is the example. I mean, we are so lucky UPM still paying this one. And for the title, it's very important that the title should be short, descriptive, and prepared in succinct manner. Because why? The reader will only skim through the papers. They're not going to go into detail about your work. When they see that the title is so precise and so descriptive, and they will read. Why you so bothered about people reading your work? This take me a long time, to accept this. Why bother? But nowadays, I think I will cover later on the visibility, on the citation. It's become very important. Because say 15 years ago, we don't care. As long as you publish, it's okay. You publish in any journals, non-cited journal, as long as they're easy to publish. And UPM recognize that. But these days, they are different altogether. And abstract is very important. It's actually telling the readers in brief what have been done in the paper. You should be able to provide information on your research to other researchers who don't have access to the full paper. There's limit of word limits, but and generally the abstract should summarize the purpose, the method, scope, result, conclusion. This should be there. The abstract should have background, objective, method, result, and conclusion. And the next important point is keywords. So when you're writing, keyword is so important. People, you don't underestimate the importance of the keywords. Yeah, try to choose the right keyword. Don't go for very general keywords. Try to be as specific as possible. Keyword is important. To publish is to make known. By publishing research work, journals make research known to the readers. However, most researchers read only few journals regularly. That's why you have to choose the keyword that is very informative one. And this is very important. I just want to stress it again. Mind the gap, because we have the previous knowledge and emerging knowledge. What are coming to do? What's in future? So we have to highlight the gap. How to highlight this gap? Through the review. I think I can explain to you another level of what Professor David Hui explained to me. Even this one, this practice also not so accurate. But I don't want to share in this in the beginning course, on publication. I think I will address in my book. I'm publishing my book. They asked me to publish with the department. I'm supposed to publish in this month, but so many other commitments. But I try to very hard to publish very soon. Research gap. This is important. Again, I emphasize it. And the next important thing is introduction. Without introduction, you can just write anything. No. Introduction should include a short background. The first thing is background and significance of topic. The nature of problem being addressed and reason for carrying out. Then the relevant research publication must be critically reviewed. They don't want you to list the paper, but you have to critically review. This is the ideal one. But sometimes if you list down, they will accept. But ideally you should do some critical review on each and every paper. How many papers? I think for research paper, you what 20 you review in this introduction, it will be sufficient. But the rest, maybe 10, 15, you can use it in other section, like in methodology, you can have few references. In result discussion, you get more references to compare and to support your work. Then relevant recent publication should be critically reviewed and how it is related or different from the current work. Then at the end, then this is question and objective should be mentioned. I think ideally the last paragraph or introduction. I think in one paragraph, don't put any reference there. You know, some people say hypothesis. It's okay. I mean, this is question. This is the objective. It's okay, whatever you call it. But you know, to show the gap of the knowledge, this is very important. And methodology. And what's methodology? Methodology, if you look at the any journal, they're the shortest one, among the shortest, of course, the conclusion is so short, but the main one, introduction, methodology, result discussion, methodology should be the shortest one. It should be presented in such a manner that if any researcher who wishes to repeat the work, he can do so. This is the idea, that they can repeat the work. Of course, when you do research for one paper, from one paper to another, there shouldn't be any duplication. Perhaps the different material they use. One person use kenaf, the other one should work on oil palm. But the method should be, you can repeat. Dr. Zul is writing something, I can repeat his work. Okay, and not only just repeat, understand what he wrote, and then I can repeat. When we say that, you shouldn't write any more literature review in your methodology, and shouldn't have, and you write, you describe what you have done. So basically, in methodology, stuck. Sorry, yeah. Okay. That's why I said, when you describing your work, your methodology right in the past tense. Of course, when you describe your figure, you should write figure 1 showed. Figure 1 should be show, kan? Shows. That is the exception. But when you talk about the activity that you have done in the past, must write in the past tense. And also the standard you use. They are the reference. The standard is a book. You have to consider them, take them as a reference, put in a reference list. This is a common mistake that many authors have done. Okay, I think this is the most important one, result discussion. And we note that in majority of the engineering or even in material science, the result and discussion, they are combined. In other field, the results are different and the next section is discussion, but generally result in discussion should be combined. And in this section, our own finding and issue related to finding is very important. And I would say that comparison to this work is a part of the discussion, which many authors, they fail to do that. That's why they found that the work is not accepted. And provide critical assessment of the strength and weakness of the paper, interpret the data's meaning, reference the prior literature, highlight the noble contribution. They are the among important points that you put in your result discussion. So what you need to know about result discussion? Thorough comparison has to be done between finding in hand and the work published earlier. While you are doing that, don't put too many references. Just reasonables, in one paragraph, put 3, 4, or 2. It's okay, but must have. It's very important. You interpret the result, and people said, what is the science behind that? Okay, you put some graph there. What is science behind that? That you have to explain, you have to interpret, and give some reference, and to support your finding. And the result is to unveil this result section, to unveil the result or the method, explain, along with the proof in the form of text, table, and pictures, and not duplication. If we have the information in table, don't put in figures. What text can reinforce the table, but tables and figure, and table and figure, they can replace, huge amount of text. And Result and discussion is really giving the answer to the question. Where is the question? The question is in introduction, in the last paragraph of your introduction. So introduction, you shouldn't put any, when you write introduction, shouldn't put the subtitle called objective or literature review. Just a plain. The first paragraph is like problem statement. Second, start from second paragraph to 7th paragraph, for instance, you write the review, and the last paragraph is where you put the research question. Any key argument should be backed up by appropriate references. It's very important. And finally, the conclusion, highlight the key finding and should answer the objective. And when you write research paper, should be no recommendation. Don't put recommendation. Majority of the journal will accept the conclusion, only the conclusion, pure conclusion. Can be point form. You know, you have 5 important points. Okay, just write some small like introduction, then the following are the conclusion from the study. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Okay, be in a paragraph, not too long. You know, don't put 3 paragraphs, just 1 paragraph. Reviews, okay, review paper, different category. Okay, I'm not going to discuss in detail about a review paper. We can have a separate session for that. And figure and tables are very important. They can replace huge amount of text in explaining the particular point, as we know. And we must be meticulous about things when come to the preparing the figures. Must be clear enough, high resolution, and the size should be visible, can be read. You see here the text on the right hand side, you can hardly see. So this is one of the reasons for rejection of the paper. And some important consideration while putting figures, among others, a list of figures and table are required at the end papers. Particularly in the past 7-8 years, this is compulsory. But nowadays, the editor they don't bother much about this. If you have, it's better put the figure last. Quality and resolution should be high. All figures and text must be cited. This is very important. Some people they put the figure and tables, they just hanging there. There's nothing. It's floating. But you have to explain. They put text that describe that figures. For example, figure 1 shows, and then we had the figures and there is caption. And figure caption should be provided, but not like this. Why you need to put the figures and in the caption, below the figures, and then you put the caption above that. Just the figure 1 temperature versus time is only enough, not the top one. And this is one very important point, that when you write papers, you forget to write the units. It's very important. This is quite very common mistake, and you need to put, like, some people put some scales there. So that you can know what the people can imagine what is the size. Here, pen, I think this is the normal pen that we use. So that's the size of that materials. So important. Okay, and another thing is when you write, you have to mind with your language. Use a proper syntax and grammar, and this is very important. Normally, we don't have that skill. Try to send to the English editor, and we know some company, cheap one, and can give you even certificate for that. Okay. See, is what the message here, that you must see what is the word limits. Normally, the journal will say to you that there are certain word limits, for a paper. And sometimes they said also not in the term of word limits, but they said in the term of the number of pages. Like Journal of Natural Fiber, they give only 16 pages, not beyond that. And even they restrict the number of figures and table. Why they are so particular about this? But majority of the journal, about 30 pages is all right, double space. Why this happen? Because the space in a journals is very expensive. They allow you only 3 pages, 4 pages. Yeah. Unlike books, books you can write, some authors they write until 50 pages. But the journal, they are very particular about the space in the journal. But the review paper may be different in different category. We have seen the review paper, they are very long. See, this is look very simple and it's nothing important, but if you write a paper and you got, for example, grant from KPT, your people will be rejected by KPT because simply because you didn't put the acknowledgement. You have to write the vote number and who give you the money, from which grant. Okay, and the rest are not so critical, but that is very important. But sometimes, people said, oh, this work is not funded, so I don't want to acknowledge anybody. But I think, to me, you have to write acknowledgement. For example, you are the staff of one university. You use their facilities in the university. Though it's review paper, the computer that you use, yes, acknowledge your university. Okay, this might be very important because I think for most of you, I think I will encourage for you to go for the high impact factor and ranking. Why we waste time for, sorry to say, I think saya punya bahasa ni, saya minta maaf kalau kasar. Okay, try to target Q1 and Q2. Even to me Q1. Why? Because they are not difficult. Because if you want to publish in Scopus, the amount of work you put as compared to the Q1 paper, the same thing Q2. Because the editor, the reviewer, the human being, the same professional. And some Scopus journal sent to the same person who also review in Q1 and Q2. See, and this is a matter of who review your work. For example, if you come to me, the paper come to me. It's a lot of review paper, a lot of paper that I review from Q1 journal. I just do the standard, comment like, if you put any standard that you use, you must put in the reference list. And your units, must be correct. Your research question must be, sound. Things like that. The title must be brief and succinct enough, and the conclusion should answer the objective. You should have this explain the sign behind that. So this is not just on Q1, but Q2 also the same thing. Q3, Q4. So bagi saya lah, try to target on high impact factor Q1, and for this you need to ask people because some Q1, of course, they are really difficult. Nature is in Q1, they are so difficult. But some journal, they are just, I didn't say that it's so easy, but it's okay. As long as you comply with the requirement, they will publish your work. Because last week we received one paper. We have one paper from one collaborator from UiTM. Dia hantar paper kat saya, and then we try to help him, and we of course we work on the paper. We sent to few journals, it's rejected in the beginning, but the same paper, this on my field, on sugar palm or natural fiber, we sent to Journal of Natural Fiber, and it was accepted, and tak banyak pun dia punya correction. Q1 is top 10%. You know how the government value top 10%? How you can value top 10%? It's quite high. You can also eligible to become the Anugerah Scientist Anugerah Akademi Negara, and UPM akan recognize you. And they are not much effort, and it's not many comment also. This is how you can find. So the main thing is the impact factor and the ranking. These two things that you want to see. But of course, this is quite old version. The latest version, they are quite different, different from the previous year. Okay, but they convey the same message. So normally they take the highest one, Q1 and Q1, and also the citation, the impact factor. This is quite important. I think this is about talking about review articles. A review article, the purpose is to review previously published literature and to put it into some kind of perspective. I mean, the topic is quite lengthy, but this is very important. How, for Majuki, I was in the same group before. got from his research team, what 5, 6 highly cited researcher. They are just PhD student, his PhD student, and become the distinguished professor in overseas, in Australia mainly, because of this review paper. And we thought it's nothing there, we don't value it. But if you know how to write review paper, it can be very, very, something that's very important. And one thing, it can, if you do it properly, it can protect even your career. Otherwise, you are careless about this, and it can jeopardize even your career. Be careful about this. Plagiarism. Not everything. That you write is a plagiarism. It's a way of doing that. I think you can read some work on plagiarism, but it is defined as reproduction or presentation of published work of others in the form of language or ideas without citing the reference. Just simply not citing the work is also plagiarism. Not paraphrasing is also can be plagiarism. You quote verbatim, you put the reference, even then it is wrong. Yeah, there is many things that you have to learn from this. We have the Turnitin to help us. Even at UPM, the prohibition of the plagiarism, falsification, and publication of data. This is considered like the academic crime. So make sure that you don't copy. Make sure that your student don't copy. And this is very, very important. It can, your work, your academic career will be at a risk if you're doing that. It can lead to embarrassment, can lead even to legal action. So please be careful. Okay, we write. We encourage you to write. I'm writing, but please make sure there's no plagiarism. There's a rules for that. Of course, we have to learn the rules. Don't falsify your data. No conflict of interest. When you're writing. The in the ethical point of view. Then finally, the online submission. This is not so difficult. In the past was difficult. In my time, we had to print 5 copies and kita kena post ke luar negara kan. And then tunggu the receipt of the paper, and then review will take 4 or 5 months, and then we have to do correction and post it again. But nowadays so easy. I think it's not easy. There's no issue at all. And of course, the review paper is the journal paper is something being vetted, moderated, or the right word is to being reviewed, being refereed. So the quality is there. Some people, your work is not so good. Well, some people we have published in 4 journal papers. It is being reviewed. So please respect that. Of course, if you try to go for very detailed, you'll find a lot of mistake. But so far, so long as the paperwork has been reviewed and reviewed properly, and then I think there is a norm to accept that. Because why? Journal receive many manuscripts that can possibly publish more than they can publish. So they have to, very strict. They have to be very strict. Even to some extent, some journal they only limit, so only acceptance rate is 20%. 10 paper that come in, only we accept 2, 8 we reject. At where? At the editorial levels. They can give you any reason. They can give you any reason. As long as they want to reject, they give any reason. But the main thing, they want to reject your work in the beginning. Then it's sent for review, and this is different exercise. And the professional opinion of the reviewer will be sought, and they give the opinion. And why your work is rejected, out of scope, without review, tool preliminary, with limited data, limited novelty, and the focus is more appropriate for a journal that specializes in your area. So the list goes on, but it's all the reason for them to reject because of the limitation that they have, only 22%, 20% acceptance rate. Actually, the review process is when your work is being reviewed. So this is done to ensure a certain level of quality of paper is achieved. Otherwise, you can publish anything, but you have to make sure that the quality is there. And when you are doing that, some comment from the reviewers, you can sometimes you don't you tend to be disagree with them, you can just rebut. And not all the reviewer have got all the knowledge. So sometimes you have to explain to them. This is acceptable. Don't just follow them. But of course, in many questions you answer them. But in one or two questions that you think this doesn't make sense, you just rebut. And I think I have this I didn't discuss it. Why the work is rejected? The title and abstract do not describe the content of the paper. No link between previous work. This is in introduction. No link between research question, methodology, and result and discussion. This is why we have to have the link with that. And then not meeting word limits. Reference not enough. I said nowadays they are very particular. You have 10 reference, I think it's certainly rejected. Not focusing on one research question. Okay, I also mentioned this. One research question is important. Don't go for two research question. This is not focus. And then after that, Galley proof is just to complete the publication process is already accepted. In Galley proof, there are not many comments you can address in a short time also. This is another important point. How to create high quality journal paper and to increase the research impact and visibility. This is why through citation, through even through social media like LinkedIn, it's very important that you try to share with others, And though it's not, we don't like it in our culture. It's not it's not our culture, but you have to show your work to the people. And this is one, the criteria for this determining the quality of research and publication. Okay, well, the second part is on thesis preparation. The supervision. I think I already covered some of point on supervision. And when you want to supervise student, at the end you have to prepare the thesis. The guide is there, prepared by the SGS. I'm not going into detail about this. So everything is there, is spelled out there. And there is also, you mentioned here 3 ways to format the chapter in thesis. 2 are described in this chapter, and the third is in chapter 3. What it means that one is just using IMRAD. Second one you have the chapter like compilation of paper, but it's not paper. But the third one is really the paper, the journal paper. You can publish by journal paper by at least for PhD, or this should be research paper. And you can contact me for that because my students mainly using that format. And as a researcher in UPM, particularly for those who are new, you need to know all this, high stuff, to put, actually it's to help yourself. You do something, but you don't recognize yourself. So you can pandai gunakan high stuff in research and in publication and postgraduate. And see all the information you should add there. It's a time now in December, very busy time. It's an ICRIS. You should be familiar. The PRIM system. You publish banyak mana paper pun, you tak masuk di UPM will not recognize you. Your work. And penerbitan mainly. In books or proceeding, the book chapter, even the seminar that you present, there is a place to put there. Everything you should put. My advice for those are new, jangan tinggalkan satu pun, masukkan. Kalau you attend seminar, you go to this one, penglibatan, persidangan dihadiri. Semua UPM recognize, And if you have your work linked with industry and community, put it here. It's very important for your career path. And some approach and strategy, saya dah pukul 10 tapi saya dah tak nak hujung dah. For the research, for publication and supervision. Okay, some tips, mungkin tak komprehensif. Secure Putra grant, especially for those who are new, IPM. For those who are senior, go for, Putra Berimpak, like I'm due now to apply. Or if you want to be more, adventurous, you can get 4 or 5 lecturers, apply for Putra IPB. Putra Berkumpulan. Dr. Azmah just got it with Prof. Saidul kan. Bukan susah sangat pun. As long as you know, tahu the strategy dia. Don't go for simple technology, go for top technology, like you go for automotive, aerospace, and it's easy to get. And you need to have team. Yeah, they are not so difficult. I used to have about 0.6 million about 5-6 years ago. And advertise for Master of Science student with IPM grant. Okay. Kalau you ada IPM grant, you boleh cari master student. I think so. Cumanya IPM tak boleh bayar. Dr. Zuri mentioned to me, you cannot pay the student. But some student, they got scholarship. Some student, they are rich. Last week, one candidate from China said, we got no scholarship. No, I can pay. I have money. So, yang macam ni lah opportunity for those who are new. And to start with, to become co-supervisor for MS and PhD, and Masters and PhD candidates. Publish your PhD work, your own PhD work, those who are new. You know, you just got PhD. Publish their final year project students' work. And though they can tend to be low quality, but you improve the quality. You write, you improve them. They help you to get the data. Publish master student work. With a master student and PhD, we have journal, with them, you know, with master and PhD work student, we can get journal papers. Yeah? Attend seminar and workshop on journal publication, like this one of them, to give you encouragement, continuous encouragement. We are so lucky UPM has this. UPM have this library conduct with the different publishers and even the faculty, and some paid ones, some of them free. You know, this is very important to keep update of the knowledge of new information. Main thing is to encourage you to write. And sometimes you know how to write, but you don't write. Why? There's no drive for that. Listening to the motivational talk will help you. Be active in research center. Now we have, alhamdulillah, now I'm in the AMC. You know, Azma is a head now. So be in that groups and institute. For instance, if you are in Nano, you can go to the previously known as ITMA. You can go to Introp, or you can go to any institute. If related biomedical, you can go to the gerontology, for example. So many venue and so many places you can be active in this university. Okay, high impact journal publication is important. Okay, pay attention to conference presentation is also important. Don't say that, oh, conference low quality. No, conference got different purpose. This is for you to meet people, to train to talk with the people about your work, and also to have the networking. Publish also books. Oh, there's no KPI for book. You write books if you have the opportunity. I like to write books. You know, you can, if you want, you can only join me. You want to write book together or chapter in book. And patent, you have product, try to patent it. UPM still paying, and copyright if not. And other IPs like, you know, industrial design, you can have the trademark, and supervision all FYP at all levels, FYP, master's coursework, and PhD. I think for FYP and master's coursework, everybody got opportunity because the department give that opportunity. But for a master's and PhD by research, you have to work. But you need help for those who are new. Okay, thank you so much Dr. Nurul Izzah and jabatan Dr. Zul kerana menjemput saya. InsyaAllah kalau ada soalan dia, saya pun tak terikat dengan masa. Kalau siapa yang nak tanya, boleh tanyalah.
Okay, thank you Prof. Kita ada soalan dari Dr. Azmah di chat room. Prof, saya nak tanya di mana info nak check if the journal is in top 10% or 1%.
Oh, you go to journal, you go to library, apa nama library website tu. You go to Easy Proxy. Okay, you go to Easy Proxy, masuk password, username, and then akan keluar tu the library punya menu tu. You go for J. J, alphabetical abjad J, pergi kepada Journal Citation Report. Saya boleh tunjuk kat sini. Oh, tak boleh. Anyway, dia pergi ke J, Journal Citation Report. Di situ you type journal apa yang you nak. Okay, You type and then akan keluar terus ke website dia. Impact factor ada di situ dan di bawah tu ada ranking, general ranking. General ranking, dia akan tulis Q1 ke Q2. Make sure the ranking by impact factor. Ranking by field. Bukan ranking by impact factor, ranking by field. Sebab the new one, dia ada perubahan daripada tahun lepas. Ranking by field. Dalam bidang mana, you ranking yang ke berapa. Dia ada tulis Q1, dia ada tulis Q1, itu untuk kuartal. Lepas tu ada lagi untuk, dia ada bagi begini. Contohnya, kalau ada jurnal tu ada 100, kalau 100 jurnal dalam kategori tu, dalam bidang, katalah bidang termofluid, 100, you punya paper tu adalah yang 25 terbaik. This is Q1 tapi yang ujung-ujung. And ada danger untuk masuk Q2. Tapi kalau you rasa dalam 100 tu, the journal, kalau lihat journal tu dalam 100 tu, the top 10, nombor 10. This is top 10%. Kalau dia nombor 1, dalam 100 dia top 1%. Tapi yang top 1% ni tak practical because sometimes the number tu, katalah, tak boleh, tak dapat top 10% because dia tak membenarkan, sistem tak benarkan. Tapi itu yang diletak oleh UPM, top 1%, top 10%. And Q1 top 25%. And then top 50 Q2. Kemudian 75% top 70% is Q3 and then kalau dah dalam tu yang last tu dalam ni lah, kalau dia ranking dia 100 per 100, dia Q4. Okay? So you go to JCR, Journal Citation Report. Ada lagi soalan?
Ada lagi soalan daripada peserta yang lain? Kita buka untuk soalan kepada Prof.
Assalamualaikum Prof.
Waalaikumsalam.
Asmah ni, saya since tak ada soalan, saya ada soalan kedua lah Prof.
Ya.
Saya nak tanya untuk contohnya link, kita boleh post paper yang kita publish dekat situ. Kalau dia open access, okey lah, memang dia free for everyone. Tapi kalau paper tu kita publish dalam jurnal yang orang kena subscribe untuk access, kalau paper macam tu boleh ke kita post dekat link Prof?
Tak boleh.
Tak boleh.
Ada copyright, tak boleh.
Oh, okay.
Dia tak boleh. You kalau open access you boleh share. Kalau I think kalau you share abstract mungkin tak ada masalah kot.
Oh, okay. So
Abstract
kalau
saja.
share macam first page yang ada abstract itu sajalah yang selamat.
Itu je. Yes, it's safe lah kalau you hantar abstract. Kalau hantar full paper, orang boleh saman kita.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Ya.
Okay, ada lagi soalan daripada peserta?
Ya.
Saya pun ada soalan Prof sebenarnya.
Ya.
Boleh tak Prof share sikit bagaimana kita nak encourage our students lah yang kita supervise untuk jalankan research dengan baiklah supaya sehingga dapat publish, tak kisah daripada FYP, master ataupun PhD.
Okay, bagi saya kan untuk pelajar-pelajar yang muda final year project masters ni, you have to guide them, give close supervision, tell them what you want and guide them. Mungkin you bagi satu macam exercise, bagi mereka exercise. Contohnya let us write objective. Hari ni kita punya target objektif saja. So dia tulis objektif dan kita akan check awal. Okay, ini pelajar-pelajar yang muda. Pelajar yang baru ni, final year project atau master yang by third course ni, you kena guide them, okay? Ask them to write objective. Kalau objektif tu kita rasa dah mantap, and then that objective will become the research question dalam dia punya introduction nanti. So you tak payah nak fikir lagi, ambil objektif tu masuk kat situ saja. Same thing, the title that you create for your basically for final year project ataupun structure master by coursework ni, satu topik je. So when you giving that title, and then bagi title yang macam saya mention tadi, betul-betul macam title journal paper. Dan tak perlu panjang-panjang. Investigation of, ni tak payah, tak ada makna investigation of. It was to the point. Katalah tensile properties of. Kalau kata mechanical properties pun jangan. untuk title. Because kita hanya cover katalah tensile dengan fractural. That be direct. Tensile and fractural properties of what? Dan jangan sebut polymer. Kita kata, what is the polymer that you use? Kalau you guna epoxy, write epoxy. Daripada awal, you train them to write in the as if this is the final form. Title you dah boleh buat. Objective you dah boleh buat. Okay? Even the problem statement, guide them how to write problem statement. And that problem statement you can put part of them in your, the beginning of your objective, or beginning of your introduction, or in the beginning of your abstract, but on the shorter version. So this thing you guide them, and same thing with the with the literature review. Okay, literature review. See, you try to train the student not to review anything. Sometimes of course they need, like undergraduate, they need basic knowledge. But if we have the facility to, to guide them the review of very specific topic, mungkin kalau you nak belajar, nakkan basic knowledge, you can put partly in their literature review. But some of the literature review must be focused toward the title of the papers. See, mungkin 20 papers that review very close to your work, and try to get the most recent paper and very close to your work, except maybe if you use Knauf in the form of the Knauf and epoxy in the form of continuous fiber, we put in the short fiber. That close, and you are working in 2021, 2022, get the paper in the past 3 years. With that, advise them to, ataupun you sendiri telah membawa mereka kepada penulisan paper. That was and the literature review you can put in your introduction. Similarly with your methodology, and every student has to do methodology in their thesis. Okay, why not you just do the literature review in such a way that, because I told you the methodology is not a long chapter. If you are writing thesis or report, dissertation, the short chapter. So guide them how to prepare the methodology in that manner. Like we have material, what material you use and what method you use. Itu je, tak perlu nak pergi very detail. Of course, in thesis, mungkin the writing can be longer, but you take the shorter version, put in your paper. Tapi setelah semua ini menjurus kepada metodologi dalam thesis, dalam paper. Sama juga design discussion. Okay, everybody has to produce graph. That is fine. And guide them in the beginning to write and to describe the science behind that, meaning that to get the support, the interpretation, the support from the literature, the comparison. Itu penting. And then conclusion, I think, not very difficult to write. This is the way to do for those who are new, for the undergraduate and for the master successor. You have to guide them. But for the PhDs, somehow they have more objectives. Say 4, for example, 4 objectives, and you decide what are the 4 objectives that you want to give to your student, and then the student for PhD, they are more like independent. So you can guide them to read more journal paper, ask them to do more, to get the, okay, the term is called reverse engineering, okay? Get paper. And your work, for example, objective 1, follow that paper. Objective 2, follow that paper, second paper. 3, 4. And then ask them to do some kind of reverse engineering. Of course, the majority of journals, they are very similar, especially in the same field. Sometimes you cannot differentiate what are the difference between these papers. They are the same thing, but the novelty or contribution come from different, for example, material, the testing that you do, these are only the difference. Mainly for in the case and composite, mainly in the material selection, meaning that what the fiber that you use, what is the metric that you use, what the method that you use, like using injection molding or solution casting, like that. I hope I'm answering your question.
Terima kasih, Prof. Faham. Okey, ada lagi ke soalan daripada peserta lain?
Kalau tak ada soalan, saya Saya nak tutup, boleh tutup tak Dr. Izzah?
Boleh.
If there is any, tak ada soalan lagi lah. Kalau tak ada soalan. Ada lagi tak?
Nampaknya macam tak ada je.
Okay, terima kasih semua. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay,
Salam. Oh, belum tutup ke, Prof?
belum Prof.
Yeah, okay, I'm free.
Okay,
Tak ada
alright.
apa-apa ini.
Okay, Prof. So saya nak buat concluding remark lah ya. Pertama sekali saya ucapkan terima kasih lah kepada Prof yang sudi memberikan seminar ni. Sebab ini tercetus daripada mesyuarat jabatan lepas lah. Kita minta Prof berkongsi bagaimana untuk improve lah kita punya publication ni. Seperti yang kita tahu semua staff akademik di UPM ni kena publish because that is part of our KPI. It doesn't matter which laluan yang kita pilih, sama ada research, pengajaran ataupun dipanggil apa ya, pengamal. Ada tiga laluan ni. Either any one of them mesti ada 3 perkara yang kita kena input untuk kenaikan pangkat. Yang pertama of course the teaching element. Yang kedua is our research, which is selalunya kita tunjukkan kita punya publication lah. Dan yang ketiga ialah service to the community ataupun industri lah. Dia panggil professional service. So benda ni doesn't matter which one we choose. 3 perkara ni kena ada lah untuk kenaikan pangkat. Dan publication ni kita tak boleh lari lah kan. Kita tak boleh lari because macam Prof dah cakap tadi, either you publish or you perish kan. Kalau kita tak publish memang teruk sikit lah kita punya laluan kerjaya tu. Apa yang Prof dah sampaikan tadi dalam masa 1 jam, saya kira the general idea of what publication is all about lah. Tapi kalau nak tahu detail tu banyak lagi sebenarnya yang kita kena explore. Kalau boleh explore sendiri ataupun kalau tak tahu boleh tanya yang senior-senior lah. Yang mana yang dah publish banyak kan. Prof, tahun ni berapa Prof punya publication? 70 kan?
Journal 80.
80, wow. Mana? Wow, superhuman lah Prof.
Tak tahulah. Dengan tak ada duit pun.
Itulah.
Kejut dia.
Lagi satu perkara yang saya cuba nak nak sampaikan, kita ni kalau kita tak try, kita tak tahu. We must try to do it, otherwise we don't know. Kita punya publication sebenarnya yang penting adalah content tu. Dan content tu datang daripada Prof dah tunjukkan tadi. One source of the content ialah daripada final year project kita punya student, ataupun daripada kita punya master student. Kalau di jabatan ada master student by coursework kan. So yang itu pun one of the sources that we can use as a content for our paper. Untuk master by research dengan PhD ni, dia ada stepnya lah. Kalau di UPM ni you have to start dengan co-supervisor dulu, macam Prof dah cakap tadi. Dan baru kita boleh jadi supervisor kan. So dia ada beberapa step lah before you can get to supervise. But start with the final year project dulu. Dan Dr. Zuri pun dah buktikan. In fact, Prof Sapan memang banyak kali lah saya nampak final year project student dia memang dijadikan paper lah. Dan Dr. Izzah tadi tanya macam mana nak encourage student kita untuk bantu kita publish. Sebenarnya untuk master by research dan juga PhD, that is their requirement to publish. Dan mereka kena tahulah sebenarnya macam mana paper itu ditulis. Yang macam Prof sampaikan tadi tu basically student patutnya follow lah yang IMRAT apa semua tu kan. Tapi content tu kalau student tak ada, Ini saya pun dah cakap dengan Dr. Izzah, kalau kita tak ada student, susah sikit lah kita nak cari data ataupun nak cari content untuk diletakkan dalam paper. So basically dia kena start dengan student, dan untuk dapatkan student kita kena ada grant. Itu yang masalah sekarang ni, grant susah kita nak dapatkan. Untuk master by coursework, siapa, I think all of us dekat jabatan memang ada student supervision of MSKK punya student. One of the dissertation requirement untuk submit, kita minta diorang summarizekan diorang punya kerja ni dalam bentuk journal paper at the end. Memang ada koleksi lah dekat saya, memang ada koleksi of unpublished material daripada MSKK punya student. Some of them not so good, some of them are okay, some of them are very good. Yang very good tu saya kebanyakan ni saya dah publish lah. Ada yang tak berapa okey tu saya buat koleksi lah kan. So yang ini pun salah satu peluang jugalah, bila Puan Mira minta kita bagi title, tolong bagi cepat-cepat lah, because that is part of one of the avenues that you can get publication. Lagi satu yang Prof sentuh pasal Dr. Azmah pun ada tanya pasal ranking of journal tu. Yang Prof cakap pasal easy proxy tu, kalau kita berada di rumah lah, dan kebanyakan kita mungkin berada di rumah sekarang. Saya pun tengah cuti sekarang ni. Kalau daripada rumah memang kena pakai easy proxy. Tapi kalau kita di dalam UPM, terus dia masuk. Kita masuk, kita type dekat Google tu, kita type JCR Insight lah, and then you can log in. Tapi saya rasa kena register dulu kot. Saya dah register dah. You log in pakai you punya email, lepas tu boleh search for the journal. Kemudian boleh tengok lah. Yang ni saya rasa ni format lama kan Prof?
Lama, yang baru lain.
Yang baru dia lain sikit. So, daripada JCR Insight tu, dia sangat senang lah. Dia tengok dia punya ranking kan. Macam ni kan. Contohnya material science 6/24 ni, dia Q1. Tapi di UPM ni Prof, setahu saya lah, dia kira sampai 2019.
Lambat dia. Lambat.
Sebab dia orang nak Myra punya data tu.
Ya.
Berlaku pada saya lah, dan Dr. Azmah pun aware of this masa student saya publish hari tu. It is actually Q1 sekarang jurnal tu. Bila masuk dalam prims, dia jadi Q2. So tak dapatlah nak dapatkan 8,000 tu kan. Dia dah dalam prim jadi Q2, jadi boleh bayar 6,000 sahaja. Rugilah sebab dia punya fee tak silap saya 7,000 lebih. So kena top up lah dalam 1,000. Kena top up dalam 1,000 lebih sikit lah, sebab dia punya fee 1,700 Swiss franc. Tapi semua dua-dua dah selamat lah, dah publish dah pun. Saya pun dah dapat balik duit saya, sebab yang tu memang pakai credit card lah, saya charge sendiri. So yang ni pun kena aware jugalah bila kita tengok journal tu Q1. Tapi Q1 tu bila? Kalau Q1 tu 2020, kena check balik. Ataupun 2021 kan. 2021 dah keluar ke? Kalau 2020 ataupun 2021, bila kita nak tahu dia punya Q tu berapa, sebenarnya kena try masuk dekat prims. Baru kita boleh tahu sebenarnya berapa UPM akan bayar. Kalau kita hantarlah yang berbayar kan. Dan Prof cakap tadi, yang bayar ada, yang tak berbayar ada juga jurnal yang free tetapi ambil masa yang lama sikit lah. So it depends on our own strategy lah kan. Alright, saya rasa itu saja kot yang saya nak tambah sikit tadi. Publish memang kena publish lah, tak boleh lari kan. Yang baru mungkin kita bagi 10% lah. Kalau ingat balik yang Prof tunjuk tu, dia punya percentage tu in our KPI. 20% is the standard, tetapi bergantung kepada you punya grade. I think untuk new lecturers boleh letak 10%. Mana Prof? Sorry Prof. Boleh letak 10% untuk dia panggil wajaran. Wajaran. Yang ni. Yang band yang ada color orange tu kan, tu 20%. Kalau profesor minimum 4 lah. Boleh lebih bukan kena 4 dekat tahun, boleh lebih, tak ada masalah. Prof sampai dah 80 dah kan. So AP 3 jurnal. Yang ni CIJ kan, tak silap saya. Semua ni CIJ ni.
Ya, ya.
Dan pensyarah kanan adalah 2. Tapi ini pensyarah kanan yang dah lama sikit lah. Tapi kalau yang baru masuk, dia kena letak yang 10% tu. 10% maksudnya pensyarah kanan 1 paper sajalah. Okay, tapi jangan orang kata apa terikat sangatlah dengan these numbers kan. Kita try as much as possible to publish whatever that we have in our hand lah. Itu yang Prof kata, kalau ada final year project kan, benda-benda yang nampak macam very simple, sebenarnya boleh je kita jadikan dia paper kan. Nak tak nak aje. Itu sebab nak tak nak itulah yang jadi banyak koleksi tu sampai dah orang kata apa dah outdated. Beberapa tahun lepas punya material, bila kita nak publish sekarang dia dah jadi outdated. So kena cari data baru, itu yang kita tak dapat nak buat lah. Okay, lagi satu perkara yang saya nak stresskan juga, bila kita it is all about strategy. Kita nak publish menggunakan dana penerbitan jurnal pun sebenarnya ada strategi. Dan untuk mengelakkan plagiarism tu, yang Prof dah mention tu, I think RMC memang nak kita sebagai corresponding author. Sebab pernah terjadi student submit, student yang uruskan, student yang buat semua, tiba-tiba last kali jurnal kata ataupun reviewer found out benda tu plagiarize, paper tu plagiarize. So itu yang tak nak tu. Sebab tu RMC ataupun UPM sendirilah dikenakan syarat supaya supervisor tengok paper ni sebelum publish. That's why we have to put ourselves, we have to put our neck lah basically kan, to be responsible kalau paper tu paper yang plagiarize lah. Kita kena jadi corresponding author. There is a way around it lah ya. Ada jurnal yang membenarkan lebih daripada satu corresponding author. Maknanya kerja tu masih lagi student yang buat, tapi kita sebagai in fact kita ni sebagai checker lah, kita check kan, kita check dia punya kerja dan kita benarkan student untuk submit lah ya. Kalau tak dapat CA tu sebenarnya kita tak boleh minta dana penerbitan jurnal. Betul lah bro?
Ya,
Kalau nama kita tak ada sebagai corresponding author, sebenarnya kita tak layak untuk minta dana penerbitan jurnal tu, which is rather macam ni lah kan, macam discouraging juga, tapi itu yang diorang buat supaya kontrol ada dekat situ lah. Okay. Saya tak ada apa lagi lah. Kalau Dr. Azmah nak tambah ke? This one mungkin related to your ni juga.
Tak ada Dr. Zul. Cuma itulah kalau bachelor degree selalunya end up nanti lecturer jugalah yang tulis sebenarnya most of the time. Kalau kita nak based on paper from FYP, sebab kalau nak depend on student, selalunya tak sampailah ke quality untuk publication.
Betul. Tapi kita boleh bagi dia punya rangka lah kan, yang IMRAT tu. So kita minta dia fill in the slot dan kita akan olahkan kemudian lah. I think that is better lah kan.
Ya. Ada rangka kita still kena tambah lagi lah in terms of literature apa semua lah.
Betul.
So the time, ya. Yeah.
Okey, Prof, saya bagi pihak jabatan mengucapkan terima kasih kerana telah berkongsi seminar ni kepada ahli jabatan dan juga kepada staf di PTJ lain. Saya nampak ada daripada VET pun ada join kita punya seminar pagi ni. Semoga ianya bermanfaat lah untuk semua yang hadir pada hari ini. Dan kita doakan Prof supaya sihat untuk terus menerbitkan artikel-artikel daripada research work Prof dan juga student-student Prof lah. 80 is quite amazing lah. Saya tak tercapai akal lah Prof. Secara jujurnya 80 tu banyak tu. Itu 80 saya pun rasanya 10 tahun pun tak sampai tu. Okey Prof, terima kasih sekali lagi Dr. Izzah, terima kasih kerana telah menguruskan seminar kita pada hari ini. Mungkin di lain masa nanti kita akan berkongsi cerita lain lah pula cerita lain. Selain daripada artikel in journals, Prof pun banyak menulis buku. Buku ni memang saya rasa setiap bulan ada ya Prof. So yang itu pun satu perkara yang mungkin kita boleh tengok lah nanti untuk kita punya KPI. Okey Prof, saya ucapkan terima kasih sekali lagi dan kepada semua, terima kasih kerana hadir pada hari ini. Dan kita insyaAllah kita akan jumpa lagi lah. Terima kasih semua. Assalamualaikum. Dr. Izzah, over to you.
Okay. Terima kasih Dr. Zul dan terutama juga terima kasih Prof atas perkongsian yang sangat bermanfaat. Semua ilmu dan tips yang diberikan tadi akan dijadikan panduan lah, dan terutamanya kepada pensyarah-pensyarah baru seperti saya untuk mencapai KPI dalam publication dan supervision insyaAllah. So mungkin kita ada sesi fotografi sikit. Okay, diharap semua dapat turn on the camera, switch on the camera just untuk kenangan kan. So okay, sekejap. Okay, saya buka gallery. Okay, so okay. Alright. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, hold on. Sekali lagi 1, 2, 3. Alright. Okay, terima kasih semua. So harap dapat berjumpa lagi di sesi yang lain. Terima kasih Prof.
Okay.
Okay, take care semua.
Terima kasih,
Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih Prof. Terima kasih semua. Assalamualaikum.
Terima kasih Prof.
Terima kasih semua. Terima kasih Prof.